And
but one thing you give him credit for, he knew she was something.
the real thing.
Yeah, the real thing.
Yeah.
But you know that's you know, when I use the term gigolo, let me just say I don't mean that in a demeaning fashion to any person. I don't mean it literally as a gigolo means. But I'm telling people who don't come forward properly in the political process. But one of the things that I remember, you talk about not having money. I remember the resources, the personal resources that they use for the PLP. That's how much they believed in it. They absolutely, utterly believed in it because they connected to what it meant to the plight of our people. Today, that sort of enlistment, the belief of that commitment, you don't see much of that. And people don't want to make too many sacrifices. And, you know, they don't really want, you know, they only go so far and what's in it for them. I mean, you know, and so, you know, that's one of the things I hope that we will see more of. There are people like that in the mix now. But I think we need to weed out the others because they have no right.
The gigolos.
Well, I mean, you
I mean in the literal sense, gigolos.
They have no right to be in it.
Y'all know what y'all do in convention time?
No,
y'all know what that sweet, you know that sweet you get up there in the convention? and womanizing on the PLP and the F&M because
in both
organizations they got the sweets. They're gigolos.
No, but I didn't mean it like that though.
I mean it like that
though.
No. I could get away with it.
No. But I just think that you know, we got to try and we have to put a higher standard to our political leaders to ensure they bring that correct thing to the table. Yeah, I ain't perfect. I mean, I made plenty of mistakes as a minister and even as in opposition as chairman and in my own constituency. It is a growing process, but you have to come from the right place, and that is why I want to see if we can attract more people who have that sort of commitment, who actually see themselves involved in this noble pursuit, which is not about attaining this or being that, you know, being a minister or whatever it involves, but it's about saying that you have actually served and taken the Bahamas to this new place, a 67 type of thing.
Okay, now on that point now,
right?
Englerston,
yeah.
Your constituency, where would you like to carry Englerston in this revolutionary movement forward? Where do you see Englerston and the Bahayan towns and the grand towns, the camp roads of our country?
Yeah.
Where do you see them moving forward?
Yeah, that is the biggest frustration, because you find that you understand what the issues are, and you find that you can't really respond in a holistic, meaningful way that affects a community, as opposed to, you could have individuals, we have a lot of individuals, but a community. And so, you know, what I would like to see is policies. For example, you start, for example, the educational system. Because one of the principals of the high schools in my constituency said to me, he said he's very strict. I'll tell you, it was the principal, Aaron Bailey, Mr. Anderson. He said that he was very strict. He was controversial when he went there, but he maintained his path, and the results are paying off now. But one of the things he said, I'm from Balls Alley, and he said that education will be one of the only few advantages these children will have. They won't have mass resources. So I think we got to start by equipping children with an educational system that gives them skills, but more than anything though, that gives them an understanding of our country and who we are and what they are in the scheme of things. And thirdly, and most importantly, teaches them how to think critically about their environment. We don't need to create a bunch of robots to just absorb information and put it. Children who are able to think and to encourage creative involvement in their thinking and in their being. So that's the first thing I would like to see, because that affects everybody. It affects children in Englerston. I'd like to see for children who want to go to higher education, access tertiary education, scholarships. They don't have the means. They cannot get loan scholarships. That loan scholarship, you were telling some gigantic thing. It helped a lot of people, but it didn't help a lot of people. A lot of people can't get loans. They cannot go to the bank because they have minimum wage and they're living from paycheck to paycheck.
That's right.
So I'd like to see tertiary education, a policy that allows tertiary education to be accessible to a wider spectrum of people, and that encourages research and technology and science. And I always say in Cuba they have 3 ministers of education. One is for research, tertiary education, research, science, and technology. I'd like to see that in education. And then I'd like to see in healthcare, where we are teaching children, or we're causing our children to be raised in a way that they do not, from their early days, become ticking time bombs in terms of the way they eat, the way they carry themselves. And I'd like to see a greater I see that our rap sign going up.
Yeah,
Greater, but let me just, the one point I was saying,
yeah.
I'd like to see a greater appreciation of the importance of mental health. We don't talk about it in Bahamas. And there are a lot of young people who are in dilemmas and who have nowhere to go. And there's no resource place where they can go and find guidance, and they're disturbed and troubled children. And their parents aren't equipped, and because they don't know how to handle it. And so we'd like to see that. And then, you know, when you go on and I want to see us own this economy. At some point, we gotta stop. We gotta stop being the either front man or the secondary man, and be the man, and own the economy in a way that we can create paradigm shifts in our economy, and create new opportunities, and everything that comes along with that, technology and all of that. So that's it there.
Okay, brilliant.
You ain't never keep this quiet with me. And you're
no,
this is good.
No, I agree with most of what you're saying there, young lady. Listen, man. I hope that the political elite in this country have been listening carefully to this show tonight. Y'all are not getting it right. This is not my sister talking now, this is me. Y'all ain't getting it right. The education system is in shambles. The inner city is problematic. We got young people going astray every day. And if it wasn't for my sister here, we'd never hear about a lot of things that have been happening and going on in the ground. Glenys, I want to thank you for coming today. You've been an excellent guest.
Thank you, Dion.
I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you now to keep up the revolutionary spirit in the house. You know, be more rebellious. And next time those fellas pull a cycle around you, brush them aside. They are stealing your thunder, girl. Plenty people out there want to see you speak up for poor people. And I think you're doing a good job, and not because you're my sister.
I'm sure that has a lot to do with it.
The fellas around you, those gigolos around you on both sides of that floor, now, I can't say nothing good for them, but I could talk good for you. As a matter of fact, when I threatened to run in the next election, I told them I'd run against you, but I'd run against Perry, but I ain't gonna run against you. So that's the one person I'm not going to run against in the next election.
So we're safe in Englerston.
You're safe in Englerston. Now, Perry and Hubert, watch out, I come in. Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you again. Our next two shows are going to be from Grand Bahama, and hopefully we're going to carry it to the next level. Thank you very much, and have a good evening. All power to the people, all power to the land. And let's get rid of the gigolos. Thank you.
But I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
Hola, soy Gloria Estefan y cuando estoy en las Bahamas veo JCN, JCN, canal 14, 14.